A Mile High Weekend, A Mile High Romance, Book 3, written by Cassidy Cole, narrated by Julia Emlen. Sarah slowly lowered herself into the pitch-black cave opening, the rappelling rope gliding through her hand, the small lamp on her helmet reflecting off the cave wall just 6 inches from her face. She glanced up to see Tyler peering down at her, his gorgeous green eyes lit up with amusement. She paused and glared at him. "You know, when I thought of you, latex, and rope, this is not exactly what I had in mind." She laughed at his shocked expression and continued to lower herself into the darkness below. It was so good to have him back in her life. 2 weeks ago, they'd spent the most amazing Valentine's night together. She smiled, remembering how fun it had been to pour champagne on his gorgeously sculpted abs and lick it off as slowly as she could while he begged her to hurry up. Oh, the fun she had teasing him. Served him right. Tyler Corrigan, drop-dead gorgeous billionaire that he was, got everything he wanted. Always. Well, except a loving family, it seemed. No one can have it all. But Sarah was no pushover to just let him have his way with her, too, no matter how irresistible she found him. She'd resisted his charms for 2 years, until that fateful Christmas flight to Paris. And even though those 2 weeks in Paris had been magic, she'd walked away when he tried to force her into the mold of someone she'd never be. Well, turns out he hadn't been trying to force her to be anything. That had all been in her head, a product of her own insecurities about being too curvy and too trailer park for a little rich boy used to pencil-thin women with that exact perfect shade of blonde hair who always looked put together and never said a crude word. Unlike Sarah, who cussed like a sailor when she wasn't watching herself and who could be guaranteed to have at least one thing wrong with any outfit she wore. She was the bull in their little china cabinet world. She didn't care, though. She was who she was, and proud of it. Turns out, Tyler Corrigan didn't care either, and he'd showed her just how much he loved her voluptuous curves and saucy mouth over and over and over again in the 2 weeks since they'd reconciled. It was amazing to see him every day at work, and then spend all night kissing and touching and exploring his beautiful body, or walking the streets of Sydney, Australia, her hand in his, knowing that the most wonderful man in the world wanted her. Her, Sarah Baxter. She'd never been happier. She'd even lost 5 pounds thanks to all their extracurriculars. When Tyler suggested a spontaneous weekend trip to New Zealand, Sarah hadn't hesitated to say yes, even though it meant taking off both Friday and Monday during one of the busiest times of the year for the accounting department. Her boss, Mr. Horowitz, was pissed. She could tell from his icy silence on the other end of the phone when she called to let him know she was taking a couple days off. But she just didn't care. When would she ever have the chance to go to New Zealand again? And with a sexy man like Tyler Corrigan, in his private jet nonetheless. Plus, Corrigan Inc. was Tyler's company. What was Horowitz going to do? Fire her? So here she was on a Saturday morning in a tiny little town called Waitomo, lowering herself into a dark cave to go what they called blackwater rafting, floating on inner tubes down an underground river. The drive down from Auckland had been magical, even if it had included more sheep and cows than Sarah had ever seen in her entire life. New Zealanders were so nice and friendly, from the immigration officer to the woman at the car rental office. Everyone had joked and smiled and just made them feel welcome. The scenery was breathtaking every direction she looked. Grass greener than anything, yellow gorse spotting the hills, a sky so blue she just stared at it for moments on end, awed. She was in love with the country and the man who'd brought her here. She waited in the darkness of the cave as Tyler lowered himself through the narrow opening at the top. He moved
Sample complete. Ready to continue?